Hi Scorpio, welcome. Thanks so much for tuning into my channel, The Fool's Journey Tarot. You are watching a general love reading for the sign of Scorpio for mid-month October 2020. So Scorpio, this is a general love reading, and that means it can apply to any kind of relationship, situation, or circumstance that you might be dealing with. Don't forget to be flexible with the energy. You might be represented by any of the characters that shows up in the cards, regardless of the gender of the card. If the reading resonates, you'll recognize who you are in the reading. It is possible too, you might not be represented in the reading at all. You might feel like you're cross-watching for somebody. Parts of the reading may resonate for you while other parts may not, so take what does and leave behind what doesn't. My intention is to reach those of you that need this message and will benefit from it in some way. And my tripod needs to be adjusted. There we go. I've had a lot of issues getting a video up for you guys, Scorpio, so I promised myself this is my last attempt, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. So it has to work. Or I wait till tomorrow to get a video up for Scorpio. Okay, so let's go ahead and cut the cards and see what we get. By the way, if you're brand new, welcome. Thanks so much for joining me and checking out my channel. There is more specific information in the description box below, so you can have a look there. Okay, here we go, Scorpio. Three of Wands in reverse. Eight of Wands in reverse. The Five of Cups. The Lovers in reverse. King of Wands in reverse. Strength in reverse. The Six of Cups in reverse. And the Ace of Cups in reverse. I'm laughing because I have gotten a couple of readings started where I ended up having to turn it off for whatever reason. I can't even get into how many reasons I've got for not getting a video up this morning. But part of the frustration has been when I have laid some cards out for you, Scorpio, it's been cards like these. I can't seem to get away from this message, and I can tell it's going to be a difficult one. Or at least parts of it will be. So you've got all reversals except for the Five of Cups, which is one you prefer to see in the reverse if it comes out at all. We have a King of Wands in reverse on the table. This could be your energy or somebody that you're dealing with. So if you're female, you can certainly embody the energy of this card. But if you are not resonating as this character, you may not be represented yet in the cards or at all. So we'll see what comes out. Anyway, the King of Wands in reverse. This is someone who's typically in a position of power, of leadership. This could be a patriarch. This could be a boss, somebody who's the head of an organization, something of that nature. If he's in reverse, sometimes it can indicate somebody who is a little bit irresponsible or doesn't take on responsibility well. It could be that he is in a position of power and is misusing his power or allows other people to make decisions for him. It could be somebody who feels insecure or incapable. So we'll see what comes out. This could be someone who's feeling stubborn as well, someone who's not willing to take action or make the hard decisions, that type of thing. So I do feel too that this is a reading about a significant relationship. We have the Lovers and the Six of Cups both in reverse. So I feel like this possibly has to do with one specific relationship, and it could potentially be a romantic or intimate connection. Let's give the second deck one more shuffle and see what else we get for Scorpio. We have the Hanged Man in reverse. Ten of Swords in reverse. The Sun in reverse. Ace of Cups. Ace of Cups in reverse over here and in the upright position over here. Ace of Swords in reverse. The Devil in reverse, the Emperor in reverse, and then we have the Seven of Pentacles. Okay, so this King of Wands, I feel like, is dealing with a significant amount of grief right now, disappointment, surrounding a specific relationship, a very significant relationship to him. This could be a romantic connection. Something's gone wrong within this relationship. It's possible there's separation or disengagement, or it's a broken relationship that he's dealing with. I'm not sure that he has a clear understanding maybe of what happened. Or why the relationship, the current standing of this relationship is how it is. I think that there's a lack of communication or an inability to communicate. And so I feel like there's a sense that I can't make things better. It is what it is. I have to focus on myself. Maybe put some time and energy into paying attention to my own needs, recovering from the situation, self-care. Because whatever this is, for this King of Wands, it's left a bad taste in his mouth. He's reflecting on some harsh memories. He might feel like there's this sense of a lack of control or inability to affect change in the situation. Let's get some more cards on the table for Scorpio, see what else we get. The Hanged Man, this time in the upright position. Two of Swords. Death. Seven of Cups in reverse. Five of Cups in reverse this time. Seven of Wands in reverse. Ten of Cups in reverse. And the Moon. Okay, this is somebody who's feeling really down in the dumps about himself or herself. So far, this is a single person solo energy reading, King of Wands. And he's dealing with some grief, and he's not sure how he's going to recover from it. He's dealing with grief and not sure how he's going to recover from it. He feels like he wants to give up. This is tied to a specific connection or relationship that has gone bad. He's reflecting on some memories from the past. There's a sense of feeling a lack of control or inability to, again, affect change or make things different. It is how it is, and there's not much he can do about it. So there's a sense of feeling helpless or feeling this inability to make change. I think that's difficult for someone like this King of Wands Emperor energy, because he's not used to that. If you're the King of Wands Emperor, typically if you're not in shadow energy, which this person is in shadow energy, and I feel like he's trying to get out of it. Typically, if you're this type of person in the upright, this is someone who's in a position of power, someone who is not afraid of a challenge, not afraid of taking on responsibility. This person can organize and guide others. This is somebody who's in charge and a power to be reckoned with. In reverse, I think this person could still be in that position, but feel exactly the opposite of the position he's sitting in, where he doesn't have power, where he feels helpless instead of forceful, instead of in charge. There is just the sense of needing to let go, feeling like you can't defend yourself, needing an opportunity to recover from some kind of loss or grief connected to a relationship. Now, I feel like this King of Wands could also potentially be seeking some answers, but I don't think there's a lot of communication, or he's being blocked from communication. And this is still current. This is still current energy. So if it's something that's happened in the past, it's happening again. There's this lack of or inability to communicate. I feel like this king feels like he's being blocked or kept from gaining answers or clarity. I do feel like there has been, there's a sense that there's been opportunities where he may have started to understand what the reason behind, the situation and why it played out the way it did. But I think then again he's thrown back into questioning the relationship, why it's gone bad, gaining clarity, then maybe even more questions come up, so he feels even more in the dark than before. Now there's also this need, I think this king would certainly like answers. I feel like this king is craving communication. I think he's got a lot of questions on his mind. But I think right now, if in fact it's not a possibility for him to gain that kind of clarity, then his focus then is on himself. I've got to put some time and energy into myself so I can feel better about myself. I can start being the King of Wands that I am. Go through my day to day, go to work and feel okay at work, and come home and take care of myself, and wake up feeling refreshed without having nightmares about this connection, this relationship gone bad. Because I feel like it's heavily on his mind, and I think he'd like to gain clarity. But if he can't gain clarity, at the very least he wants to heal. He wants to start feeling better about himself. He wants to get out of the shadow energy. So let's get some more cards out here for Scorpio and see what else we get. Tower in reverse. 8 of Pentacles in reverse. Six of Swords. Eight of Wands in reverse again. 4 of Pentacles. 9 of Cups. 10 of Cups in reverse. And then we have the 4 of Wands. So we got the 10 of Cups twice in here. Okay, so there's the message that I've already delivered to you, Scorpio, is basically the message that these cards are giving. There's more significant, detailed information, but that's the basic message. This king is dealing with some kind of broken connection. It feels like it was probably romantic or intimate, but again, it doesn't have to be. It's thrown him for a loop. It's put him in a position where he's still sitting where he is, the person that he is, but feeling the exact opposite of what he should be feeling, considering the position that he holds, or the his current standing in the community. This is a man who's used to, or man or woman who's used to being in a position of power, feeling confident, feeling capable, ready and willing to make decisions. Other people are also confident and feel secure in knowing that this particular person is sitting in the position that he's sitting because he can do the job that needs to get done. But I feel like whatever's occurred for this King of Wands, it's not only affecting him personally, but I think it's affecting his work life. And I think this is a repeated occurrence. I also feel this significant sense that there is a lack of communication or inability to communicate. And this is something that I think this king is struggling with, and I think he'd like to get away from the fact that he feels like there might be a lack of clarity or resolution with regard to this connection or relationship. I just noticed I've got the Three of Swords on the bottom as I'm sitting here talking to you about this. I think also part of the problem, though, with what's occurred here for this king is it's affected other people around him. So this could be a family or group dynamic, or again, I feel like because of his loss, because of his sense of disappointment, he is kind of affecting the energy around him as well, and other people. So if he is in a position of power, or he's a patriarch, I keep saying he, I want to remind you this could be a woman in a position of power where they're typically exposed to a lot of people, and a lot of people depend on them, and they're in charge and making decisions and going about their daily life in that way. If this person is that kind of person where they're that visible and that available to other people, when they are personally affected in their lives, they're going to affect those around them as well, right? Because you can't help but give off certain energy if you're dealing with this kind of disappointment with regard to a connection that's very significant to you. So if you're dealing with this, death and Five of Cups, with regard to a very specific and significant relationship, you're going to give off that energy in your environment as well, and it will affect other people. So I think that this king would like resolution or closure or a clearer understanding of what occurred. I think this king is craving clarity. And I think that if he had that, he probably could heal more quickly or better. But at this point in time, he's not receiving that clarity. I think that's the level of frustration that he's feeling, is that he doesn't see any end in sight. So he's hopeful to figure out, how do I heal from this without the closure or the communication that I feel like I need, so that I can have this again, so that I can feel stable, so I can continue to move forward towards my dreams and my hopes and my long-term goals, and I can, build the legacy I want to build and invest in the relationships I want to invest in and create what I can create. This king, in other words, wants to bounce back from whatever's occurring here. He wants to get out of the shadow energy. That's his wish. If I could just get out of the shadow energy and get back to normal. So, I'm going to go ahead and say this, Scorpio. This is a very easy message for me to read. And I'm telling you what, I have had 2 days of really challenging readings where I feel like the cards are all over the place, and there's just really significant, detailed information and lots going on. This is a very basic and simple reading for me. And, dare I say, it's not a situation, I think, where most of us haven't experienced something like this. It's a person who's affected in their day-to-day life because they can't get over a broken relationship. It's that simple. It's not only affecting them, it's affecting the people around them, and it's difficult. So let's get this last round of cards out for Scorpio and see what else we can get. There's the Ace of Swords in the upright position this time. Judgment in reverse. Five of Cups again for the third time, this time in reverse, on top of the Five of Cups in the upright. Two of Wands in reverse. King of Swords in reverse. Knight of Swords. Eight of Swords in reverse. And then we have the Knight of Pentacles. Okay, so I do believe that this king has, I think this has been going on for a while. I think this king has been grieving this connection, this lost connection for a while. And I think that there's been these periods of time throughout this process of trying to heal from this where he's gained a certain level of clarity. He's gained some answers. He's gained some understanding. But then whatever information he's acquiring causes him to reflect deeper into what happened in the relationship, and then more questions come up. And so it's like this vicious cycle of trying to figure out what happened. And so this king has the sense that I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I'm trying to gain the clarity I can gain so I can heal from this and get back to living my life. I think he's frustrated a little bit with the universe, because I feel like this king is the type of person, I don't feel like this is the type of person that would dwell or linger long with regard to a situation like this. But this person feels very frustrated. The other piece of this is I don't feel like he's talking a lot to other people about the situation. I think he's keeping it to himself. That could be one of the mistakes. I'm just going to throw that out there. I do feel like this king is keeping to himself. I don't think he's talking to other people. Even though I think that he would like to gain some clarity in order to heal from this. Maybe he wants to talk about it, but he doesn't feel comfortable doing so. If this is a person in a position of power, typically somebody who has that kind of control of their life, that type of aura, that type of energy, typically they're seen as by others who surround that type of person, that they have everything under control. They're never weak. They're never in doubt. They never feel insecure. So he could be struggling a little bit with his own ego, where he doesn't want to talk about this or let it be known that this is what's on his mind and this is what's troubling him, because it shows weakness. Maybe he's afraid that it's going to take him 2 steps backward as he's trying to move, one step forward. If he talks about it, it's just going to sink him deeper into this state of despair, which I feel like is what he's trying to get out of. I think the biggest thing for this king is just wanting to get out from feeling trapped by disappointing others. I think that's probably one of the biggest pieces and one of the biggest reasons this king is dealing with this grief to the extent that he is. He might even be past this relationship. He might not be thinking about the connection itself, but the fact that he hasn't been able to gain the clarity that he would like or come to terms with it the way he would like. Maybe he's left the relationship in the past, but it's still lingering in his head, and so it's still affecting his energy around others, and ultimately it's still affecting other people. Is this the one I'm taking? I love it when they pop out like that. I'm like, yeah, I don't have to shuffle much. I mean, I pre-shuffle all my decks anyway, so this one I needed a card to come out fast because I've got the message. I don't think there's much more to add here. Interesting. So we have the masculine feminine card that popped up again. This came up yesterday, and when it came up in yesterday's reading, I felt the same way I feel about the card coming out right now. Is that I'm confused as to why it's coming out. You know what? I think it's going to end up resonating as advice, Scorpio. So I'm going to say this before I even read the card because I know what it says. I mean, obviously I just read it yesterday. So I'm remembering the details of the meaning. And this is about an imbalance regarding masculine and feminine energy. And like I said before, this king is in significant masculine energy. And this might be the advice to this king, that in order to get out of this funk that he's dealing with, where he feels like he's affecting other people because of his energy and his aura and his, how he's walking around moping about the situation. He's affecting other people, and he's affecting his day-to-day life. I think that if he's embracing this kind of masculine energy, maybe embracing a little bit of his feminine side, Queen of Cups side, for example, where you own your emotions, you express yourself, you're not clammed up and not willing to talk, you're willing to express yourself, own your emotions, you're willing to be a little bit vulnerable. Maybe if this king embraces his feminine side, it'll create some balance for him and he can heal from this. So that's my intuitive thought as I get ready to read this card, which I will read for you. It came out in the reverse, which means it's a potential blockage. So I'll read this short little couple of sentences regarding the blockages for the 11 cards. These would typically be the page cards, but they don't coincide with the meanings for the typical page card in the Rider-Waite Tarot deck. So the potential blockage paragraph says the 11 of Fire reversed has a very simple and direct meaning. If it appears in your reading today, like its upright meaning symbolizes a potential imbalance that needs to be addressed. So I'm going to read the card. It's about card meaning is about 2 pages. So here we go, Scorpio. The 11 of Fire is a balancing and realignment card. It symbolizes the importance of balancing our masculine and feminine energies and to remind us we are and always will be a mix of both. Our physical gender is irrelevant. The 11 of Fire asks that we look beyond gender stereotypes to how we respond and react to day-to-day experiences. On an energetic level, our masculine aspect serves to protect self and others, while our feminine aspect serves to nurture self and others. There it is, the feminine side that can nurture not only other people but oneself as well. And I think that's what's missing with this king's energy. In a simplistic society, a typical male will embody a more masculine energy than feminine. They are characteristically more aggressive and forceful, but also protective of those they feel are in need of protection. However, they are more apt to use physical force and aggression to protect. A typical female, however, will embody more feminine energy than masculine. They are characteristically more passive and yielding, and while possessing the same desire to protect the vulnerable, they will generally use diplomacy and dialogue in order to determine an option that avoids conflict. I want to point something else out. The feminine energy will typically use diplomacy and dialogue in order to determine an option that avoids conflict. So again, this king isn't talking, he's not communicating his feelings, he's not expressing himself. Embracing a tactic that a less forceful energy would take, which includes communication, might be one of the options this king can consider. Gender stereotypes are often one-dimensional and rarely accurate, especially when we are discussing masculine and feminine energy as opposed to man and woman. It can become even more problematic to assign specific attributes to either gender when there are many men who identify as female and women who identify as male. When it comes to masculine and feminine energy, we all have both. Regardless of our physical gender or the gender we have assigned ourselves, and this energy is expressed in how we behave and act. It influences all that we do. Masculine energy is active, impatient, assertive, creative, aggressive, forceful, protective, logical, analytical, and controlling. Feminine energy is inactive, calm, retiring, receptive, passive, yielding, nurturing, emotional, intuitive, and allowing. Masculine energy motivates us to focus upon our personal needs and self, while feminine energy motivates us to think of others and their needs. Again, regardless of gender, a person who is energetic and proactive is embracing masculine energy, while a person who is calm and passive is embracing feminine energy. Neither is intrinsically good or bad, but if an imbalance is present, it can be evident in our actions and give rise to destructive behavior. An imbalance can occur when we have too much of one and not enough of the other all of the time. Too much of one without enough influence from the other can create a discordant and destructive mix. But what is the right mix? This is not about having equal parts of both, but about having harmonious blending that is suited to your lifestyle and personal goals and needs. If you are not assertive enough, you may need to embrace more masculine energy. If you are overly assertive to the point where others are always intimidated by you, then consider embracing a little more feminine energy and soften your approach. An aggressive approach or method is sometimes required in order to break from the old and make way for the new, but aggressive methods don't always have to be violent. To be forceful is not always indicative of physical force being used. Masculine and feminine energy should be allowed to flow and ebb as it is needed. Like fire flickering and dancing, you add less fuel if you want things to cool, and more fuel if you want things to heat up. Enough heat gives rise to creative, productive energy, but too much heat can burn both you and others. Cooling things a little gives rise to a nurturing warmth, but too little fuel on the fire could go out completely. The 11 of Fire symbolizes an opportunity to take a moment to evaluate your life and ask yourself whether you need to embrace a little more masculine or feminine energy in your day-to-day activities and relationships. Do you need to step up and be a little more assertive or proactive? Does something or someone need your protection? Are you not nurturing yourself or others enough? Are you being overly analytical instead of heeding your intuition? Are you allowing impatience to get the better of you when your situation calls for calm and compromise? Are you choosing a path of inaction when you need to embrace one of action in order to manifest the changes you need? Pause for a moment, evaluate, and bring your masculine and feminine energies back into harmonious alignment with your life and your needs. Well, as I read that, I thought this does fit perfectly into this reading now that I think more about it, because this is obviously a one-person reading. This king is trying to recover from the situation. He's in a position, and I'm saying this person is in a position of power, embracing his masculine energy, and having a hard time coming to terms with whatever occurred. And I think what he needs to do in order to balance this out and get out of the shadow energy is embrace some feminine energy, be willing to communicate, be willing to express himself, be willing to talk about it, maybe showing some vulnerability, maybe showing people that, he might look like he has this tough exterior, but there's something soft on the inside. It very well could potentially endear him to some people who might be feeling a little bit miffed as to why this person is acting this way. And maybe he'll change the direction of not only his current relationships, but maybe this past relationship. Maybe there'll be some healing there, and who knows what else could transpire because of this person's change in perspective. So I think the advice is embrace your feminine side if you're this King of Wands. It's that simple. So I'm going to go ahead and leave that here. Scorpio, I hope the reading was enjoyable for you. I hope that you got something out of it. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye, Scorpio.